a lump of food donated to them. Sometimes, 20 cakes from Stop and Shop, or something. And they got to freeze stuff, and they need the extra freezer and a dependable one. The Lions Club stepped up. They saw a need in our community. This is what Lions do. This is what Rotarians do. This is what people all over town do. They stepped up and helped and saw a need, and they filled the need. It's a wonderful thing to see happen, and the seniors in town are very grateful for that. Thank you, Niantic Lions. Ex officio reports, heading down to Mr. Salerno first.
I have 3. I went to the inland wetlands on March 9th. There was a show clause hearing. Scott Rabideau, the show clause hearing was about the Gateway spill. Scott Rabideau, who's a professional wetland scientist, testified on the Gateway spill. Basically what happens, we know that we had a water leak from a construction accident. There was about 100 yards of sediment that went into the wetlands. It filled some parts of the wetlands, some vernal pools for about 2 to 3 feet of sediment. He was called to the scene immediately under his recommendation and under the town's wetlands official. They went in and immediately removed 2 to 3 feet of pretty much all the sediment from the wetland, which was about 2 to 3 feet. They figure they got around 80 to 85 yards of the 100 yards out. The concern was, and there's still some concern that there is still some residue of it about some of the insects and other amphibians that go in there in the vernal streams in the spring, so they're adding some woody material so that they can spawn there. They're going to do some sampling in the river and at the base of Gorton Pond, because they expect that if it is 15 yards, they expect that is going to go down to Gorton Pond. The commission asked the applicant, the developer, if they could put turbidity curtains in the stream to knock down the sediment before it reaches the pond. They agreed to do 4. About a week or 2 later, the DEP responded that they did not want that to happen because it would block spawning patterns of fish. So the wetlands official did oblige by the DEP. So they're going to sample it and see if there is some sediment collecting down at the bottom, and if there needs to be some remediation, there will be. Mr. Rabideau agreed with the commission to provide weekly updates. There were also some. He's inspecting some of the silt fences to make sure none of them have been damaged. There were a couple that were damaged. He had that remediated. The commission accepted the plan, and there was some other discussion. So for some other small applicants, one on a house on Black Point Road. Harbor management, which was March 17th, there was some brief discussion. The harbor master has been going through looking for moorings, and some that are not permitted. There were a few down near Three Bells Marina. There was someone from Three Bells Marina that was there. Apparently that the 10 moorings were applied for by the DEEP and approved by the DEEP and the Army Corps of Engineers, but these date back, were never on the books for the harbor management. So there was talks on how to get that on the books for harbor management, because there are fees and there is inspections for those. The shellfish beds were shut down the week of March 17th due to the rain. This is when they get more than an inch of rain in one day. And the good news from it was the rain gauges that were put up at the emergency management worked well, and they were able to make the call by that. There was discussion. There's also some discussion. There's some harbor management revisions that are in process of being developed, and they'll be discussing that in the future. I went to the Board of Education meeting in place of Mr. Nickerson on the 23rd. Dr. Lombardo gave his going away speech, and that was a good one to have me go to because they gave cake away to celebrate.
Shoot.
Yeah, you missed that one. There was an update on the elementary school. There was they decided to hold off this year because there was trouble meeting the deadline. We've talked about this here. Last week on Thursday, they unveiled the architectural plans. He talked that the first selectman did go and do a tour of the Lily B. Haynes School. Apparently, they are doing a traffic study of Niantic Center School for the addition. There was some talk of about the decision to reinstate the global language program in the elementary schools. That has been delayed until they hear more from the Board of Finance. There was discussion of hiring 2 more Spanish-French teachers for the middle school, and if the global language program does go forward, they plan on hiring 2 more in the elementary school. There was a lot of discussion on the Chinese program. Apparently, there will be a reciprocating agreement with the students in East Lyme. If they wanted to go to China for a year and attend their middle school, they will be allowed to, or if there is also potentially they can go for 1 or 2 weeks. There was a long discussion about whether the Chinese students that are coming and will graduate. They will graduate from East Lyme High School if they're going to be competing with the East Lyme kids. There was a lot of discussion on that. Also, something of note for this commission is they expect the 190K revenues from the Chinese program. Part of that is revenues in place of services provided from the superintendent, principals, and other things like that. The Chinese program, the Chinese are going to pay for that. There's also the tuition. The thing that caught my attention was the revenues from the tuition are going directly into the Board of Education revenue fund. It's not going into the town fund. And I know there was some discussion here, and it is a little confusing to me and a little concerning because apparently all the revenue that we get from out-of-town tuition goes to the town budget.
Right.
But for some reason, this out-of-state, this tuition is not going to be.
Right.
So
the Board of Finance picked up on that the couple of evenings ago, and
okay.
I suspect they will make a decisive decision on how that should be handled. But yeah, that's been an ongoing controversial.
Yeah, it's a little concerning because
sure,
obviously because if we have certain out-of-town tuition going to one budget and another one, who makes that decision, and how
right.
does it get divvied up and accounted for?
Apparently, it was what came up the other evening. This happens a lot. There's a whole lot of different tuitions that are coming through the town budget. They have a whole lot of tuitions through what's the other, Coastal Connections.
Coastal Connections.
And some other,
Salem's is a lot easier. Salem's is part of
Yeah,
a formula.
it's
that
one
comes
check.
through-
Yeah.
That comes
checks.
directly.
Yeah,
there's a
right.
whole lot of other
Yeah.
money income streams that don't actually come through the town budget or their budget. It's a separate stuff. They take the money and then they spend it outside of their budget, and that kind of came up the other night. So,
Okay.
thank you, Mark.
That's all I have.
That was enough.
Yeah, this
Sounds good.
felt like I
Talked
was
enough
there.
tonight, haven't I?
Yes, you
Yes.
have. You want me to go?
Hey,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, take a pick.
Go in order. Go, Mr.
Oh,
Siri.
I attended the water and sewer last week, and took over for part of it because Mark had to leave. Of most interest there was the way they're taking care of the situation up at Gateway and the water thing. They had pretty much replaced all of the electronics up there and so forth like that. And the big concern was at whose cost is this, and everything is the developer's cost and possibly the developer's insurance company. None of the cost is being borne by the town of East Lyme. And also there's a neutral observer up there to make sure everything is being done properly. And again, that's someone that's been hired and not to the cost of the town, although that person does in large report to the town. Brad's up there a lot, is being monitored very closely. And they're looking now, from what I understand, that they're hoping in March was when they were hoping to open, and I guess now May is what they're hoping for.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, went the wrong way. Madam Cheeseman.
I attended the zoning
Yeah.
commission meeting on March 19th. There were a number of public hearings scheduled. A request for a small cell phone tower at 324 Flanders Road, petition from Landmark Developers for a hearing on the Affordable Housing District, site plan review for construction of a medical office at 11 Industrial Park Road, and application for office and industrial use at Capitol Drive. And public hearings have been and will be scheduled for those applications. And that is my report. A brief public service announcement.
Oh, you're always welcome to do that.
On behalf of Niantic Main Street,
Great.
asked me to bring to everyone's attention, they're going to have one of their Beers for Beauty on April 11th at Smith's Acres. This is to raise money for downtown beautification, and tickets can be obtained at Smith's Acres or Mermaid Liquors. And it helps to make our downtown look lovely, so I encourage people to attend.
What day was that?
The 11th.
Saturday, April 11th.
Week from- yeah. Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks.
April 11th, Smith Acres.
Correct.
Fantastic. I have just a few items, things that have kept me busy and things that have inspired me, things that have just have made my day. I'll start off with what happened last Saturday. I'll check that, Friday night at the Niantic Yacht Club. Izzy and Joan Schwartz, Paul McDonough were recognized as Citizens of the Year for their contributions to this town over the years by the Democrat Town Committee, and they had a whole lot of dignitaries there, and I was fortunate enough to be invited, and it was my pleasure too, because we were honoring the service of three great individuals who continue to serve our town. Their energy and their talents are endless. So again, a great evening. We hired a fourth dispatcher, and it was my pleasure to swear her in and observe her signing her forms the other day. So we have a full-time dispatcher will start on April 13th officially, so we'll be properly manned. Similar subject, two police officers were promoted as sergeants a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think I reported that. Dana Jazerski and Mark Halbauer. Thank you. I knew you'd know. Halbauer. Two long-term officers who have served us well. They have incredible energy. They have some youth built into them a little bit. They'll be around a little while. They command respect. They deserve the respect they get. And they'll be wonderful additions to the sergeant, to the management team at the police station. Jeff Newton started his job today. He's our new school superintendent of East Lyme Public Schools. He started the job today. I wish Dr. Jim Lombardo well in his retirement. I hope he has a long, healthy, and enjoyable retirement. I know he won't sit still. He already has plans to run around the globe a couple times and see all the things that he needs to see. I started a road race the other day. It was the first road race I started as first selectman, and it was in a driving snowstorm. The old Niantic. It was snowing sideways by the time they shot the gun or blew the air horn or whatever they did, and there was a little Irish poem they read, and of course they changed all the words to, instead of the sun falling lightly upon your shoulders, it was the snow falling lightly upon your shoulders, etc., etc. Some of the times were really good. People were trekking on this snowy, icy path, and others weren't so good. So it's a nice scene down there. The ambulance / firemen were recognized for saving someone's life the year prior. Someone came across the finish line in her age group, number one her age group, went across the finish line and dropped with a heart attack, and was saved by our ambulance crew, by Fireman Pringle was there, and a few others were down there at the time to accept a certificate of appreciation. And this lady ran the road race again this year. I don't know if she came in first or not, but in her age group. But it was nice, and it was kind of a touching moment. They make a difference every day. Our ambulance crews, our fire crews, our police crews. But then there it is, right in front of us. I had a discussion today with the Sam Smith group. We bought that building like a couple of years ago now, and we still haven't formulated how we're going to manage it. We don't have a commission that we appoint people to. We had that loose group that filled the room a couple times, telling us to buy it, and of course that has dwindled some. But we don't have a group like the Thomas Lee House, which is a board of trustees, but they're separate and they have a lease with the town where they go and get their own insurance, and they're responsible for it. And we give them a stipend of money, but they're responsible for fundraising and doing their own thing. And then we have the Sam Smith House, which is a commission. The Smith Harris House, which is a commission, and then they have a Friends group, which is a I believe, a fundraising 501c3, so kind of a two-armed management team over there. We haven't done anything with the Sam Smith, so I'm in some negotiation, if you will, and some kind of learning up on some of this. Talk to our town attorney, talk to the group today, talk to the Historic Properties Association today about what to do about this and what direction we want to go. So more on that in the future. I believe, speaking of which, the Thomas Lee House, which I had the great pleasure of getting a one-on-one VIP tour by Norm Peck, the 33rd or the 3rd, whatever he is, the guy that serves on zoning, I believe the 3rd. He walked me through all the buildings and, every nook and cranny and pointing out all the little, nobody knows about this and under the beam, and showed me where all the work has been done. And what a pleasure. I've known Norm for 15 years, served a long time on zoning. He continues to sit on zoning. But what a gem that is out there. And I'd run through it with my kids when they were, 4th grade or something. But to spend some time and breathe in the air and see where the different additions were added on and real kind of cool.
Isn't it the 100th anniversary?
The 100th anniversary of President Taft visiting.
Yes.
Right.
Because
They're
the
going to
house
have
is 300
Yes,
years old.
commemoration of that.
They're going to commemorate that on May 9th
Yeah, I
in a
think it was-
cocktail
I think
party.
it was after Taft had left office, but never left as the president.
So we had a
Well,
president
I
visit.
understand President and Mrs. Taft are in fact going to be appearing at the cocktail
Ooh,
party
that's exciting.
commemoration. Yes.
Oh, that's,
Wow.
Maybe the gecko will too.
Well, that would be special.
May 9th, I believe it's a cocktail party out at the Niantic Bay Yacht Club. Tickets are, look them up online. They are for sale, and they're looking for generous donations. And it's a great thing to support. That's all I have tonight.
Mark, just one thing, interesting to note that the East Lyme Police Department and Waterford Police Department the other day did a
Yeah.
thing for Madeline Garaya, which was probably one of the nicest things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it hit the Facebook pages and was shared wildly. If you have the Facebook thing, go online, go look under East Lyme Police or Waterford Police Departments, and you'll see the whole story. They took her out on a boat, the whole thing, and again, these guys and ladies, they save lives, they protect us, they keep us safe, but they're good community partners. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Any comments from the public? Any public delegation this evening? Further? Anything else? Any board comments?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
We're over and out. We'll see you in 14 days.
Thank you.